Hello everyone, today is a bit of a different video to what you're normally used to, where today we'll be discussing Nintendo's most latest direct. Nintendo is infamous for these directs, and this one is no different as they didn't pull any punches. In a year like 2023, packed with so many releases, my wallet is crying. Nintendo delivered an excellent showing that provided a ton of titles that really stood out to me and that I'm eager to discuss. But before we get into this, I know this is a bit different to my regular content, so if you'd like to see more stuff like this, let me know in the comments. But for now, we'll be looking at the games that really stood out to me throughout this direct. So without further ado, let's get into Nintendo's direct. The show started off strong with Pikmin 4, where we saw some gameplay and a confirmed release date, being July 1st, 2023. I'm really keen to play this, as I've never played a Pikmin game before, but the concept's always been something that's intrigued me, so I'm going to get around to this around July, and I know that there's a lot of fans that have been really eager for this game, so it's great to see that their prayers are being answered and they'll finally get to play this come July. The next thing we saw was, holy moly.
Tell me why! Is this really what you want? Nothing's gonna get through to him!
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is getting its third drop, its new character added to the hero list this month, but more notably, later in the year, it'll be getting its full expansion that looks to be on par with something like Torna. We got a little tease at the end where we saw our boys come back, and there's a lot there to unpack that we don't really have the answers for yet, but I will be here to cover them. And speaking of covering Xenoblade, I am currently working on a project where I'm covering all 3 games. So if you are a fan of the series, maybe consider checking out the channel because I got you covered. One thing that really stood out to me that I really liked was the use of HD remasters that were on display during this direct. And that's not just through one that we'll get to later, a bigger one that you're probably already aware of, but more the lesser known ones like Baton Kaitos and Etrian Odyssey, which are also coming to the Switch later this year. I like this especially given the fact that these games are so pricey to obtain that this remaster is like extra welcome. It's a good opportunity for new fans to try out these games, particularly with the rise in popularity of the studios that made them, with Baton Kaitos being developed by Monolith Soft, the developers of Xenoblade Chronicles, and Etrian Odyssey being developed by Atlus, who have made the Persona games and SMT. It's good to see a lot more of their lesser known games get some love and a new fan base that can adore these games, and it's something that I'll be diving into a bit more later in the year when they drop. And I think that I like the idea of this in general and having these type of smaller games get a bit more love and brought over to modern consoles, because it's kind of a shame to just have them sit on an old console and not be as obtainable, especially when they're like JRPGs or something that's more particularly niche. I like that they can be more accessible in this day and age because we're always looking for new stuff to play and it's there, it's just hidden. And I think this provides a new way for us to obtain and play new games. Rant over, back to the fun stuff. Whilst we're on the discussion of HD remasters, there was one game that was a surprise to us. Sort of. And that was Metroid Prime HD Collection, which looks clean visually. I'm yet to play it and see how it actually performs, but it looks like a pretty great HD remaster to me. It looks good, looks promising, and I'm keen to get into it. And if you're someone who's wanting to replay Metroid Prime, it is digitally available on the Switch today for you to dive into for the first time or revisit. But there is an exciting cause for speculation here. Okay, it's tinfoil hat time. I'm wondering if, with the sudden release of this HD trilogy, are they trying to prime us, pun not intended, for the reveal of Metroid Prime 4? I'll leave that one right there. But let me know what you think in the comments. Next up, we got another look at Advanced Wars 1+2, the remake from the Game Boy Advance games coming to the Switch, after many delays that have taken place understandably due to events occurring in the world. We've now been given an official release date. Advanced Wars 1+2 will be releasing in April 21st, 2023. I'm eager to play this one too. I really like the visuals, the aesthetic, just the look of it all. The original games really looked like great to me too. They're a bit pricey to like pick up, but I'm looking with this remake now to just look to this game and pick it up and give it a go. I love the strategy, tactics types games, and I'm really looking forward to this one too. For all you JRPG lovers, there's something for you too. Octopath Traveler 2 is right around the corner. And today Nintendo has dropped a demo for you to get hyped and ready for its full release. on February 24th. On to the next big reveal, and this one is a big one. The Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games are now available on the Nintendo Online service. It's great that we'll be able to experience many of our favorites again on the go. This service is ever growing into something that will be a staple and should be a staple for Nintendo, and it's a robust library of iconic games that we should just be provided on every console going forward. I'm hoping they continue to support this service long into the future, because Nintendo is legit sitting on a landmine full of iconic titles that people are just eager to play and experience, both new and old. So this service is just a no-brainer for them, and I'm glad that they are really taking the leap to just try and bring as many of their older legacy consoles to this service that we can access and play. And I'm sure that over time they'll just continue to just add more and more to this library, and I really hope that even when we look past the Switch into the broader future, that it is something that is still relevant and that we can still access. One of the games that looked really cool from this Direct was one called Master Detective Archives Renko. It's a detective game from Tokyo Games and Spike Chunsoft, and sees the return of many of the staff who worked on the Danganronpa series. This game captured me with the same quirky charms and magic of the Danganronpa series and the Zero Escape games. It'll be interesting to see where they take this series and what new works and charms they try to put on us, and I'm sure without a doubt it's going to be a manic, chaotic experience that just keeps you going with twists and turns to the end, and I'm all for it. Currently we don't have a release date for this one, but it is slated for later in the year or sometime in 2023, so I'm imagining that we will see it sometime this year unless there is a foreseeable delay. Okay, so it's all been so far so good. This has been pretty impressive, but there was one thing that they revealed today that we've seen before, but they shed some more light on that just blew me away. And the next one was, goddamn, Sea of Stars, which is an RPG from Sabotage Studios, the same studio that gave us The Messenger. Sea of Stars looks stunning. The sprite work oozes with beauty and detail, and I'm eager to get my hands on this one. Today I found out when I will be able to get my hands on it, and that is August 30th, 2023. So make sure to wishlist this one if you want to pick it up on Steam or mark it in your calendar, because this one looks like an outstanding experience. But not only did they share the release date with us, but for Switch users, there is a playable demo available via the eShop, which I'll be checking out sometime throughout the week, and I would encourage you to do as well, because this game is looking overall like a pretty fun experience and one of the games that we will remember in 2023. So I'd recommend checking it out. On to the next game. Last, but certainly not least, is the sequel to one of the most talked about games of the Switch generation.
But Link, I am not sure you'll be able to stop him.
To say this Direct ended with a bang is an understatement. We got a story and some gameplay for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which with each reveal is looking to match up and exceed its predecessor, Breath of the Wild, evolving on what exists and providing us with what seems to be a greater depth of tools and verticality to the land of Hyrule. From grinding rails to flying devices, it looks to be getting bigger and better, and it makes me wonder, how will the Switch handle this beast of a game? If there is any worries with this game, it is how will this game perform given the age of the console? But seeing how many games recently have handled this, most recently being Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I'm sure we're in for a good time on May 12th when Tears of the Kingdom releases, and I'm optimistic that they will deliver. So overall, this conference left me pretty excited, with various new and upcoming titles and some old retro titles that are being remastered and becoming more accessible for us to play. 2023 is shaping up to be a year of non-stop games, and honestly, I'm all for it. Like when you think about it, Nintendo alone have provided us such a strong lineup. I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more from all the other studios and publishers of what they plan for 2023. But even if we don't, the year in itself is already pretty stacked with a lot of games that are slated to release. So with that, I'll ask you, what are you excited for this year? What Nintendo games stood out to you today? Leave a comment and let me know. I'm always happy to have a discussion and chat. And with that, I just want to close by saying it's undeniable that this year is shaping up to be a monolith for gaming. And honestly, I'm here for it. And I hope you are too, because I'm going to be covering a lot of these games going forward. And if you made it this far into the video and you've had a good time, consider hitting the like and subscribe and sticking around, because I will be covering many of the games to release this year, many of which were in this Direct today. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.